Good afternoon, everyone. Ask if you could take your seats. We've got some reserved seating here in the front for any of the other cabinet members, and then all the other seats behind are open for everybody. So if you want to stand in the back, that's fine. Otherwise, we've got plenty of seats. I'd just like to welcome everyone to our press conference where the county executive will be releasing her... Yeah, it's on. Yeah, we're good. It's not... Sorry. Technical difficulty. Hold on. Can everybody hear me back there? All right. Well, hopefully the audio is projecting, and I'll use my loud voice. So we'd like to welcome everyone here today for our press conference where the county executive will be releasing her fiscal year 2021 proposed budget. So with that, we thank you all for coming, and without further ado, County Executive Alsobrooks.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you all for coming on what is a most unusual afternoon. Unusual in a couple of ways. First of all, our very mild-mannered director, Stan Early, said, let's get this party started. I've never heard Stan talk this way before, and so there's an urgency about this afternoon that is different, and I don't think I've ever had a press conference where right before I go up, they hand you sanitizer. So these are just really different days and challenging days, but I am really thankful that all of you have come out today to join us as we announce our proposed budget for fiscal 2021. Before I go any further, I do want to give a very big thank you to Stan Early, Amber Hendricks, and the entire budget team. Can we give them a round of applause, please, for the amazing work that they have done, working very long nights over weekends. They really work so hard, and we are so grateful and thank you for your work. I also want to thank David Sloan and the Policy Planning and Public Affairs team, as well as Molly Byron and the County Stat team. Linda Turner, is she here? Maybe not, but want to thank, I think she's in here working, but want to thank her as well. And I want to thank all of the senior leadership team for their hard work and for their thought leadership who joined us in working so hard. And because of our efforts, we were able to focus on key policy initiatives that really did allow us to invest in our priorities that include education, public safety, and modernizing our government. As you can see from the slides on the screen, 2019, we had a good number of accomplishments. I hope some of you have also received this handout. And we discovered that the investments that we made in 2019, and again, they were very targeted investments, but what we learned is that our investments paid off in a really big way for our citizens. You can't read that from where you're sitting, and so I'll tell you some about what is on the screen. But we've invested over $4 million in modernizing the technology of our government, which helps us to respond to citizens' concerns more efficiently. We also secured funding for 5 to 7 new schools over the next 3 years, and we believe this is going to really be huge in terms of creating a new renaissance for our families who are bringing their kids back to our schools in record numbers. We've also continued to build on the economic policies that continue to lead the state in job creation. If you didn't know, I'm sure you know by now that it has been reported everywhere that we have added a total of 21,236 jobs in the last 5 years, more than any county in the state of Maryland. And so we are really proud of that. We've also been working hard for our citizens. We filled over 40,000 potholes and removed 3.2 million pounds of litter and illegal signs. We did this all while sending the strong message that we would not tolerate illegal dumping and that we did not want individuals to pollute our medians and roadways. Our government has also been highly visible. This has been an active and engaged government where we attended more than 500 events and meetings across the county in the last year alone. So the priorities that we have set out to really frame our government around have informed my approach to governing. Our collective data-driven process for developing our FY-2021 budget began last spring, soon after we transmitted our FY-2020 budget to the County Council. So we started this work very early, and over the course of a 5-month period, we brought together leadership from across the government to review and develop our best ideas. We put aside rank to work with everyone involved in government and hosted community forums. Our residents came out and were very engaged and allowed us to listen to their ideas and their concerns. And by creating a seat at the table for all Prince Georgians, we found that we were able to develop sensible and actionable priorities. By keeping an eye on our funding limits, we've also been able to do so while maximizing our ability to serve our residents. Part of what I think you'll see on this screen, and we're really proud of this, is that we have been able to maintain our AAA bond rating. I think sometimes we forget how significant that is, and so I want to thank everyone in the room, Steve McGibbons, everybody, for how fiscally responsible we have been, good stewards over the money that we have been entrusted with, and so maintaining that AAA bond rating on a $4.4 billion budget really is because we have made intentional and focused decisions, and we have really done a great job there, and so I wanted to mention that. It is my belief that this budget, which represents so much hard work, is also one of the most comprehensive efforts the county has put forward. It is an effort focused on service, built on collaboration, and ready to make an impact all across Prince George's County. Our priorities, which will again go up on the screen, we've developed proud priorities, and we call it proud priorities, proud results, and they have guided the way we govern over the next few years. We will be laser focused on education, safe neighborhoods, economic development, healthy communities, youth development, and quality of life. But before we begin to look at the numbers, I want to take a second and just give you some highlights about what we mean when we talk about each of these various categories. So for example, under education, you will see that we have a number of initiatives that work together, even though you cannot see them from where you are, but hopefully you have the handout. But we'll have a number of initiatives that work together to provide a higher quality of education and training to a broader set of students. And this is an important point, to a broader set of students. And what we mean by that is that we, for example, our Proud Pre-K program will allow more students to attend pre-K, but we also have our career and technical education hubs, which will connect students with in-demand industries. Both of these investments are smart investments because we now know well that how you start for so many of our children in our school system does have a huge impact on how you finish. So making that early investment really is critically important, and sending the message that career and technical education and entrepreneurship is also a way forward for so many of our kids, really is also the way of the future. Is so smart for us to provide multiple pathways for success. With our Safe Neighborhoods initiative, we want to work to continue to hold ourselves more accountable and to better equip our agencies with the tools that they will need to ensure that our neighborhoods remain safe. These are initiatives like the body-worn cameras for police and our public safety communications via Next Generation 911. These will help us to achieve our goals by providing needed transparency and modernizing public safety communications. Now, when it comes to economic development, our administration is focused on a number of efforts that work in concert to help bolster the local economy and to spur new growth. Overall, we're working on projects that will expand the commercial tax base and provide Prince Georgians with something that I hear over and over again. They have said to us in every forum we go in that they want quality dining. They want opportunities to have entertainment at home. They want to shop at home. And so our projects not only expand that commercial tax base in other areas, but we have really been laser focused as well on providing healthy food options for our residents. With our healthy food priority areas, we're working through economic development to open new grocers in neighborhoods that would otherwise be food deserts. And so we've made really intentional investments there. We're also working to revitalize properties across the county by providing incentives for owners to improve their property's appearance, which will attract more retail options. You all know those strip centers across the county. Many of them have definitely fallen into disrepair, have not had the kind of investment that they need. And so the government, through our Economic Development Corporation, has made funding available for facade improvements and others, and this is in other sorts of refacing to encourage investment. Under our Healthy Communities policy focus area, we're working to reduce trash and litter on our roadways under a beautification initiative that also educates residents about the importance of picking up waste. Through our reducing the impact of increased flooding, climate change policy priority, that was a lot of words, but basically what it means is now because of climate change, we have seen a growing flooding problem across the county, in particular in the southern part of our county, has really caused great distress to a good number of our residents. And so we have really worked to make sure that we are putting together a long-term solution to reduce the impact of flooding on residents across our county by improving our infrastructure. The next policy priority is quality of life supported by high-performance government. And this one likewise is very important to us because it allows our government to do more with less. Under our e-procurement plan, for example, we will reduce lead time for goods procurement and automate routine procurement. Through our HR process enhancement initiative, we're working to improve our HR accuracy and to make Prince George's County more efficient and more effective. And again, both of those areas are critically important to us as we make investments not only on what happens outside of the government, but it really is important to us to invest in the people who are working inside our government as well, and to make sure that our government is running efficiently. Our last policy focus is youth development. And here we're working to provide opportunities for our youth through programs like the Summer Youth Enrichment Program, which provides summer jobs to youth across the county. This program is one that is really so popular that we had 3,000 youth apply in the first 3 days that we brought the program up online this year. We had 3,000 youth go online and register for this program in 3 days. So it was just amazing. We're also working to build a child-friendly county where our children have access to quality social services, live in safe communities, and are protected from abuse. This is a program that we are really excited to build out, and as a part of this effort, we will also create a children's cabinet so that we can hear directly from kids on issues that impact them while providing children the opportunity to weigh in. Now, as we begin to discuss, we're going to go to some numbers and discuss the 2021 budget. I also want to mention two other very pressing issues that we should keep on our radar in Prince George's. First of all, the coronavirus, which we spoke about yesterday during a press conference and is all over our news now. It's been declared a pandemic through the World Health Organization. But we need to make sure that we have the resources that are needed, first of all, to protect our citizens from the potential impact and provide them with the services that they need. No matter what happens, we must be prepared to protect and care for our residents, in particular the most vulnerable, who are most at risk as a result of this pandemic. We must also ensure that we have the appropriate finances to account for any economic impact caused by the virus. We expect those impacts, and we believe they've already been immediate. We've already seen the impact as we've lost a good deal on our investments, and so we're already seeing the financial impact. Secondly, the financial impact of the Kerwin proposal remains to be unseen. That one is also moving through our state legislature, providing critical education funding for our school system. And so whatever happens there, our county has to be ready to meet our financial obligations. We believe Kerwin will pass, and we must be ready to meet our financial obligations as we have already for education. Now, in the case of the coronavirus in Kerwin, we need to make sure essentially what they remind us of is that we must always be ready and planning for the future. But the same can be said about a myriad of programs that we've already funded here today. And so I'm excited to talk with you about our budget. Let's begin with our total budget, which is at $4.5 billion in operating funds. And this is an increase of $242 million over the last year. The general fund total is $3.8 billion, an increase of $183.8 million over last year's budget. Here you can also see in the next slide our expenditures by agency or program. And as you all know, education is always an enormous part of our county's budget. And we have items here from transportation all the way down to funding our soil conservation district. Now, I would like to draw special attention under the category of expenditures. I want to just draw your attention to several of our capital projects. First and foremost, we've included $43 million to upgrade our heating and cooling systems in schools across Prince George's County. We're replacing old AC units, boilers, and HVAC systems. In addition, this expenditure will help us to update elevators, fix windows, and fix old roofs for our students. Our education projects don't stop with K-9, K through 12 facilities. Another high-impact project that we've funded this year is the upgrade of many of our community college facilities. We have capital funds totaling $31.2 million in this fiscal year to renovate Bladen Hall and Marlborough Hall so that these spaces can better serve our students. We're also building, and I'm excited to see this one because it seems like it's been underway for quite some time, and that's the all-new Largo Student Center, which will provide additional space for our students to study and to learn. We are also proud to support, through our budget, our disabilities community. I had an opportunity to meet with the Disabilities Roundtable last week, and we will continue to make sure that we include every segment of our community in our planning and in our budgeting. And to that end, we are making capital investments such as $1.4 million in Americans with Disability Act upgrades, which will provide funding to address ADA improvements in schools and for ADA right-of-way modifications. And as you can see, we're also investing in a number of county facilities, but I am particularly proud of one that is long overdue. This is an expenditure of $16.8 million to construct our Prince George's County homeless shelter. This is one that we have needed for quite some time. We want to be able to provide the badly needed services to a really vulnerable part of our community, and we're really excited about that one. Now, as we move to general fund revenues, you can see that our general fund revenues have increased, and this is a really wonderful trend that it goes up. And so you can see that we're headed in the right direction where our revenues are concerned, that we've experienced increase year over year for the last 4 years. And in our fiscal year 2021 budget, we proposed $3.82 billion in revenues. We also, when you look at our revenues for fiscal year 2021, you can see that our biggest source of revenue is our outside aid for the Board of Education, which does account for $1.4 billion or 38% of our total revenues. We are at this moment, and we have a really wonderful delegation, but they are working as we speak in the General Assembly right now to secure Kerwin funding, and we're also really excited about our plan to fund our school construction projects. I'm sure that most in this room have already heard about our P3 program to be able to fund school construction, so we await funding there as well. Our next two largest sources of revenue are property taxes and income taxes, and you can see those displayed on the screen here. And I've said the cautionary tale for Prince George's County and the true challenge that we have is that we must work to increase the commercial property tax base so we can stop balancing this budget on the backs of our residents. When you see what a large share these property taxes are, this is the inverse of what we see in other jurisdictions, with 70% of all of our tax revenues coming from residential property taxes and only 30% coming from commercial property taxes. Our biggest investment, when you look on the expenditure side, is in the Board of Education, which accounts for nearly 60% of our total operating budget. We're actually really proud of this. It's 6 cents of every dollar. 60 cents of every dollar goes to education. We also invest heavily in public safety, which accounts for 21% of our operating budget, and our remaining expenditures are spread out across the rest of our government. So 81% before we begin anything goes to public safety and education in our county. Now this year, our county is contributing $823.8 million, and we're talking about the Board of Education on slide 14. That $823.8 million is how much the county is contributing, which is an increase of $37.3 million or 4.7% over the FY 2020 budget. This expenditure is also, and this is significant for us, $8.2 million over the required maintenance of effort. We know that over the last 9 years, Prince George's County has invested heavily in education, including, I believe it's 177 million above maintenance of effort, or 134 million, Stanley, over maintenance of effort. $134 million over maintenance of effort over the last 9 years. And so we have really invested heavily in education. Now, as we turn back, we're going to have an opportunity to do a more in-depth look at our priorities. And as I've said in the introduction, the administration divides its focus among these priorities that will be listed, beginning first with education. This administration will provide a high-quality education and a safe environment for our students. This year, we are committing $76.22 million to support negotiated compensation commitments to all of our school system employees. And I stopped there and put a punctuation mark on the fact that we are making the commitment to all employees. It is not just teachers and administrators, but we're proud to make the point that everyone in our school system is important. And so we have made that increase. This is an increase of $7.7 million over last year's budget. And so we are really proud of that. Pre-K, proud pre-K, we're providing $12.3 million to increase the number of pre-K seats available across the county. This administration is very committed to this program for one reason, and that is because it works. And so we are making the investment to add 400 new pre-K seats this year, bringing us to a grand total of 4,000 with a goal of reaching 10,000 seats within 5 years. School-based health centers are also a really important component of our agenda. As we continue to roll out and provide services to build new schools, we're also making sure that we are caring for the individual students in our school system. We're providing $850,000 to expand services at our existing school-based health centers, but we also have a plan to have 18 school-based health centers across Prince George's County over the next decade. You should know that that 18 represents the largest number of school-based health clinics in any school system in the state, and that is our goal, and we're really excited about it. We're also committed to expanding access to meals at our schools through the new Universal Meals Program, which provides a healthy breakfast, lunch, and dinner for every student. This program targets schools with student populations that receive a higher number of free and reduced lunch requests, and we've invested $2 million in this program. And as you can see, the Universal Meals Program is for 45 community schools, and so that's what we have the numbers at 45. One of the things I'm really excited about with the meals program, as we focused on health and wellness in our system, is that we are working with our school CEO to ensure that we have a salad bar in every school across our county to give healthy options to our students. And so we're excited to make that investment as well. Safe neighborhoods, of course, are the cornerstone of maintaining safe communities. Is an unyielding commitment to establishing and maintaining positive collaboration between county government, law enforcement, and the communities that we serve. And so our body-worn cameras for police actually ensures that Prince George's County police officers in the Bureau of Patrol will get body cameras by the end of this year. What I must say to you about body-worn cameras is that they're in the best interest of our officers and they're in the best interest of our community. They protect everybody involved, and so this is a really important investment that we're making. Weeks after I was sworn in in 2018, we invested $500,000 to fund the storage of the body camera data, which is the most expensive part of the body camera program, and we did this in FY-2020. And you should know that in this year's 2021 budget, we are now allocating an additional $2.6 million to outfit police officers with cameras for transparency, accountability, and to build trust with our community. In addition, our administration will expand public safety recruitment and add 4 new police classes and 120 recruits for police. Fire and EMS will add 2 classes and 40 recruits. And corrections will add 2 classes and 60 recruits. Moving to economic development. We want our county to grow. And Prince George's wants to ensure that residents, businesses, and institutions are all active participants in the thriving Prince George's economy and that we can benefit from opportunities and growth. And so growing the commercial tax base by creating what we have called the downtowns of Prince George's is a real priority for us. You've seen them happening already. We are, I have to tell you, located in maybe one of the first beautiful downtowns, and this is the downtown of Largo. But we're focusing on developing and making investments around our metro stations. We'll continue to grow our commercial tax base by making business investment more attractive across the county. We're also diversifying our housing market through investments. And this year, our budget calls for $4 million investment in the Housing Trust Fund, which will help finance future projects. This project will also help us to bring much needed workforce housing and to make sure that people can live and work in Prince George's County. Additionally, and we have heard this loudly and clearly from our residents, that we must care for our seniors, and so we're also making sure that we're able to provide affordable housing so that our seniors are able to age in place. Moving to healthy communities, our administration will promote, enhance, and preserve the health of Prince Georgians. One way that we have focused on this is to increase the cleanliness of our communities and by focusing on beautification while reducing the overall cost of keeping the community clean. Our administration has put forward $1 million in continued investment to keep the county beautiful by removing litter from streets and streams, providing anti-litter education, and to surveil illegal dumping sites, among other programs. We've also launched a really robust marketing campaign and are teaching our young residents in school about the importance of recycling and keeping our streets litter-free. I hope you've seen that marketing campaign. Some of it's pretty humorous, and it actually is really very good. Veterans are also a really important human asset that we have here, and so expanding outreach services is an important initiative that has a really positive impact on the lives of the nearly 60,000 veterans who live here in Prince George's County. This also, I have to tell you, we're so proud of this. We say it over and over again, that Prince George's County happens to be home to the largest concentration of veterans in the state of Maryland. And so we must care for this population. To expand our work over the past year, we actually opened Prince George's County's first Office of Veterans Affairs, and we're continuing to build on that commitment by adding $442,000 to expand the office by creating a new division with new staff. We're also really proud and committed to our seniors, and we have an important initiative that really helps us to survey the needs of those seniors. Over 171,000 of our residents fall into the category of 60 and older. This also happens to be one of the largest concentrations of seniors in the state. And that's why this year's budget calls for $100,000 to assess existing services and to identify other services our seniors may need but do not have. Lastly, we are anticipating and really excited about our regional medical center, which is still scheduled to open on time in March of 2021. Moving to quality of life, our public services should provide, we believe, Prince Georgians with timely and accurate information, rapid deployment of resources, and proven strategies for excellent service. We want Prince George's County to become synonymous with excellence, most especially excellent service. And so we're making investments in our technology to streamline processes, and we plan to allocate $2.6 million for the permitting improvement system. We've heard from our businesses that they want that for them time is money. And so really streamlining the permitting process continues to send the message that we are open for business. $767,000 for e-procurement. Jonathan Butler is in the room, everybody, and I hope that he is happy. He's done a fantastic job with this, and we want to thank him for his leadership. $515,000 for human resources process enhancements. These process improvements will give our county the ability to include also more small, local, and minority businesses and projects all across the county. This is also a priority, and it's something that we heard a great deal from our residents, that they were interested in making sure we focused on small businesses. Vision Zero will help us to make our roadways safer for all users. I don't have to remind you all about the way we started last year in particular with the number of fatalities, several of them including young children. And so we will allocate $72,000 for a multi-agency regional action plan that will reduce the number of fatalities on our county roadways. We're relying on data-driven approaches to improve the engineering of our roads, to better target our education and enforcement efforts, and to change laws to improve driver behavior. We're also allocating $7.4 million for pedestrian safety improvements, which will help us design and construct roadway improvements and enhance pedestrian safety. Neighborhood services and community engagement. We are really thankful also to the Office of Community Relations. I'm going to get in trouble because I'm going to start naming people with Unisha here too, which we have really greatly reduced the call times on 311. In December of 2018, you should know that when a resident called 311, it took 3 minutes and 18 seconds on average for them to speak with a call center representative. I know this for a fact because I heard from one of my really difficult constituents, my father, who complained about this and threatened that he planned to move out the county. He and my mother were going to put their pennies together. They were leaving, so on and so forth. But thanks to Unisha, we've saved them. And now the average response time is only 6 to 8 seconds. And so we are seeking to implement a new 311 system and increase staffing of our new program, and it's called 311 on the Go. Youth development. We are so committed to enriching and empowering young people by providing them with outstanding opportunities to grow. And so our summer youth enrichment program, we are providing 6,000 summer job opportunities for our youth at a cost of $7 million. This program is funded locally and provides county youth ages 14 to 22. Now I have to tell you, I got a lot of feedback about the 14-year-olds, but we're going to give it a second try. I heard the 14-year-olds are a little more difficult to bring into the work culture, but we are enriching them, and we believe that this constructive summer opportunity is important to them, so we're making an investment there again. We're also working to increase the number of program partners and sponsorships, while also developing new metrics to evaluate the program's impact on youth and local businesses, so we're looking to continue to grow it. Our youth sports centralization will provide funding for the new youth and countywide sports division in Maryland National Capital Park and planning. And so this is a program where we're working with consultants to develop a web portal for youth sports and a central reservation system for fields and facilities. This is important. I heard from a good number of local coaches, parents, local athletes, who say they did not believe they had a fair opportunity to utilize our fields and facilities, that it was you had to know someone in order to gain access. And so this allows us to centralize that process, provide equity so every young person who is interested has an opportunity to be developed through sports. Capital funding for the Collington Athletic Complex is in our budget at a cost of $19.2 million. And again, we want to make it easier to access the fields and facilities we have, and to make sure that we are not only building first-class fields, but we believe that through sports and athletics and the lessons that you learn there, we're building first-class children. This new division has already completed a community survey and is working hard to create a seamless one-stop experience for youth sports in our county. Now, finally, the last group of items that I'd like to discuss with you is to reassure you that while we spent time outlining our proud priorities, I also want to mention that we're still committed to investing in our core services, the kind of services that our residents want. And so we've committed $34 million to our library system. You can see the breakout there: Baden, Bladensburg, Hyattsville, and Surratt's Library. But we've committed $34 million there. We also, and this is a 2.4% increase over FY-20. We also have, you can see behind me, some of our core services like road and drainage, infrastructure, maintenance, mass transportation, stormwater management, and exciting new service-oriented investments like there are four all-electric buses, which will soon be cruising our county roads and expanding Saturday service. you should know that many of these all-electric buses, including the 4, are to serve our senior population who have told me that they have active lives, that they like to line dance and hand dance and do all kinds of things, and they needed to be able to have transportation. So we're proud to provide that. This budget aims high. We believe that we have a lot of worthwhile priorities that will truly improve the lives of Prince Georgians. And so I thought it was important really to close out by taking care of core services that do affect the day-to-day lives of all of our citizens. And I just want to say, again, thank you not only to our budget staff who worked really tirelessly to make sure that we could make all of this happen, and the rest of our leadership, the agency directors and cabinet level professionals, but and as well as just every person who works across the county, to thank you all for what you do every single day. In my estimation, no one does it better. And I know it seems a little biased, but they're starting to write as much about each of you as well, that this government is really moving in the right direction. And I think that our residents deserve it and then some. And so I want to thank you all for what you do to make us proud and to make sure that we're not only making proud choices, but that we, at the end of our work together, have some proud results, which in my world is the most important thing, is what we deliver. It is not what we say, it is what we deliver to our residents that truly matters. And I want to thank you all for being a part of it. Thank you so much. Any questions? I'm sorry about that. Yes. So what we know is, in terms of the impact, well, the first thing is that we have to make sure we have the resources to take care of people. That is what we are most concerned about, is making sure that we meet the need of our residents during this time. This is a very challenging time. We'll see increased expenses as we go along, but so we need to make sure that we have the finances to care for people. But when we talk about the challenge of it, we know that, for example, you've seen the market. The market is in some difficulty, and so that means that some of our investments have changed, as well as the unanticipated expenditures that we will make to meet the challenges that we see with increased staffing and other things. And so we have to make sure that we are able to take care of our residents, but we do anticipate that with this there will be some increased financial outlay. Yes.
On the body camera, sorry, thank you. Question on the body cameras. How many officers specifically will the additional funding provide body cameras for, and what's the percentage of the police department that will have body cameras by the end of the year?
So what we've done is to provide body cameras to all of our officers in our Bureau of Patrol. The reason this makes sense is these are all the officers who will interface with the public. We believe that that is about 1,000. Two-thirds of the department. And so we provided them to everyone who will interface with the public. The 1/3 who will not interface with the public, of course, won't need those body cameras, but 2/3 of our department will have the body cameras. Any other questions? All right. Thank you all so much.